In this video, we'll be discussing commonly used JavaScript array methods. I'm not going to throw a bunch of array methods cause there are a lot of them. The truth is that you only need these array methods in real-world JavaScript programming in almost all cases. So learn them thoroughly. We will cover each of them with their most common application along with a basic trigonometric image illustration showing their mode of operation. Hi all, welcome to the complete JavaScript beginners tutorial by CodAffection. We have already discussed fundamentals of JavaScript arrays in one of our previous videos. Link is there in video description and inside the icon top right corner. Now without further ado, let's cover commonly used JavaScript array methods one by one. There are a lot of methods to work with JavaScript arrays, but in almost all cases, you only need to familiar with these array methods here. For better clarity, I have split the methods into 4 categories. So here we have the first category of methods. They modifies the original array. The operations made by these methods will actually modify the original array. Now here we have inspection methods. They are used to inspect or search what is inside an array. And here we have the for each method to iterate through array elements. Now this set of methods return the result in a new array rather than modifying the original. So these two set of categories are just opposite to each other. Now let's start with these 3 methods: push, pop and splice, which are meant to modify the original array. Now consider this array numbers. Now let's print this array here. Now in order to insert a new element, we can use the push method. So numbers dot push. Inside this function, we can pass the element that we want to push. So I will pass 6 here. So this push method is inserting a new element at the end of the array, and it is done by modifying the original array numbers. Now in order to perform the exact opposite operation, delete, we can call the function pop. So numbers.pop function can be called. See, the newly added element 6 is deleted from the array. With this function, we have inserted the array 6, and with this function, we have deleted the last element, which is the 6 that we have inserted here. Now if I comment this line here, currently the last element is 5. Upon executing this pop function, the last element get deleted. For better understanding, here we have the image illustration. Assume that we are having an array with these 2 circles and a square, and we perform this push operation with this triangle. Then the resulting array will look like this. The new element triangle is added at the end. Here we have the pop operation, same array. After the pop operation, last element, which is the square, is getting deleted. Now I would like to discuss an interesting answer to a question posted on Stack Overflow forum. So here we have the question: how do I empty an array in JavaScript? Actually, this question is not directly related to JavaScript array methods, but it is related to JavaScript basics, right? Now let's see the interesting answer to this question. Let's check the best practices or typical answer to this question. For example, let's say we want to empty this array numbers. So the best practices would be like this: number is equal to an empty array, right? Instead of this, you can also do this. Just update the length with 0. Now let me show you the answer that I found stands out among these best practices. Of course, this answer is not the best practice, but it's a different way of thinking. So here it is. First of all, we have a while loop like this. Now inside this while loop, we are calling this pop method. So let me copy this and paste in here. Now here we have the condition for this while loop: numbers dot length is not equal to 0. That's it. After all, this array became an empty array. Hope you understood this logic here. On each iteration, this pop method will delete the last element from the array, and this will continue until there is no element inside the array, and that's how this length property becomes 0. We can even simplify this condition like this, because when length becomes 0, this entire expression becomes fuzzy in case of this boolean context here. So the element within this array is getting deleted through multiple iterations. So this is not the best practice, but I just want to show you the different way of thinking while solving a problem. Now let's check how this splice method works. Now basically, splice method is used to perform insert or delete operation at a given index. Let's try that here. So here we have the array. Now let's call the function splice. Now let me provide 2 here. So it is referring to this position here, 0th index 1, 2. So whatever operation this splice method is going to perform will affect this index onwards. Now if you want to delete two elements from this position onwards, you just need to provide 2 here. So the number of elements to be deleted is passed as a second parameter here. So here we have the resulting array 1, 2, 5. These 2 elements are deleted from the array because of this function call. Now if you are not providing a second parameter, it will delete elements after this index given here. So the elements from this position onwards up to the end will be deleted. Only 1, 2 and 3 will be there in the resulting array. So this is how splice method helps to delete elements from a given index. Now let me comment this line here. Now let's try to insert few elements with the same function. So numbers dot splice function can be called. Here the insert operation must occur at the index 2, so I will provide it as the first parameter here. Now if I provide a second parameter with a non-zero value, it will delete that much element from this position onwards, right? In order to avoid that, I will just provide 0 here, so no element will be deleted. Now here I can insert elements like this. No element is deleted. 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5. Elements from the original array is here and the passed elements is added at the given index 2. See, 21 and 22. So splice function can be used to insert elements at a given index. Now let me comment this one also. Now we can combine both of these delete and insert operation for replace. So numbers dot splice, same starting index 2, and I want to replace these 2 elements 3 and 4. So I will provide 2 here and I want to replace them with 3 and the word 4. These 2 elements 3 and 4 is deleted because of the second parameter here, and these 2 elements are inserted. So in effect we have the replace operation here. So splice method can be used for delete and insert operation. If we can combine both of them, we will get the replace operation. So here it is. Array contains circle, square and circle. Now the splice function is called with the start index 1 and 1 element should be deleted in that index. So the square is getting deleted. Now here we have the addition. Instead of 1 we have provided 0, so no element is getting deleted. Instead we have to insert new triangle. So this is how the resulting array looks like. And finally we have to combine both of these operations and we will get the replace operation. This square is replaced with the triangle. So these are the 3 common methods that modifies the original array. Now let's talk about these set of methods used for inspection or searching inside an array. Only these methods modifies the original array and rest of the discussed methods does not modify the original array. Now let's check each of these methods one by one. For that, I will be using a new array called friends. Now I'm going to declare a variable result to store the return value from the methods that we are going to discuss. Okay, so I will just declare the variable here. At the end, we will print the value result. Now first of all, we are going to discuss these methods index of and last index of. So first of all, we have index of method, which is used to find the index of a specific element in the array. So let's try that here. From this array, we will call this method index of, and we want to find the index of the element Anna. So I will pass Anna here and let's assign the return value from the method to this variable result. And the same result variable is printed here. So here we have the index of the element Anna inside this array. So 0, 1 and 2. Now let's try the same for this element Sam. This time we got 1 because the element Sam is present as a second element here, but there is one more Sam here at the end. But this method index of finds the first matching element index from the left hand side. Now if you want to search for the element from the right hand side to the left hand side, you can use another method last index of. So let me copy this and pasting here. Instead of this, just call this function last index of. See, this time we got the index 3, which is pointing to this last element here because this function looks from this side and this index of method looks from this left hand side to right hand side. In brief, assume that we have an array with these 3 elements starting with a square, then a circle, then again a square. Now if we call index of method with a square, it will return 0th index because it will start searching for the element from left hand side to right hand side. Now if you are looking for the element in reverse direction, you can call this method last index of, and it will return the index of the first element found in reverse order. In any of these methods, if the searched element is not present inside the given array, then it will return -1. So if you search for the element Sam123, you will get the index -1 because the element is not present inside this friends array. So both of these functions, if the searched element is not present, both of these methods will return -1. Now before discussing rest of the inspection methods, let's try this exercise here. Remove a specific item from an array. For this exercise, assume that we have given this array friends and we want to remove an item. So let's save the item here. Item is equal to something Anna. Okay, how can we solve this problem? We can find the index of this item Anna inside this friends array using any of these methods, index of or last index of. Assume that we want to remove the force matching from left hand side to right hand side. So we can use this method index of. So first of all, we could do this. Let index is equal to friends dot index of method can be called, and let's pass the item here. If the item is present, how can we check whether the item is present inside this array or not? Let's check this index. If index is equal to -1, we could say item is not present, else corresponding item index will be there inside this variable index. Now how do we remove the element if we got the index? For that, we can make use of the method splice. As a first parameter, we can pass the index where we want to do the deletion, and then if we pass 1 as a second parameter, only one element at the given index will be deleted. And that's exactly what we want inside this exercise here. Friends dot splice method can be called, and we want to do the operation at this index, and we only need to delete the element at this given index, so we will pass 1 here. As we learn, this splice method will make the modification inside this friends array itself. So in order to see the after effect, we just need to print this array friends. Boom, that's it. See, the element Anna is removed from this array. Now while saving the item inside this variable, if there is a typo like Anna123, we will get this message item is not present. Now instead of this, let's try Henry. See, the corresponding item is removed from the array. Now let's try the same with this element Sam. So the first Sam must be deleted because we are calling this method index of. See, the first Sam is getting removed. Instead of this index of, if you try last index of, the last Sam will be removed. See? So that's all about that problem. Let me remove this exercise from here. Now let's discuss rest of the inspection methods. They are includes, every, and sum. So the next method is includes. This method returns the boolean value true or false based on whether the given item is present inside the given array or not. So first of all, let's assign the return value into this variable result. Now let's call the method includes. Now we want to check whether this name John is present inside this array or not. So we get the output false, meaning the given item is not present inside this array. Now let's try an existing element inside the array. Now we get the boolean value true. Now you should know this by default, any of the JavaScript methods for comparison will be case sensitive as the language JavaScript itself. Meaning even though if I pass the same name with a difference in the spelling, it will not match, as you can see here. So remember that these methods are case sensitive. Now let's talk about the methods every and sum. So we could do this. Result is equal to friends dot every function can be called. Now with this function, we are trying to check whether a given condition is matching for all of the elements inside this array here. And we'll be specifying the condition with a callback function here. So I will be defining the callback function with arrow function like this. So for any given element inside this array, let it be x. And I want to check the length of the element. So length, I want to check all of the names inside this array is having more than 2 characters. Since it is true for all the elements inside this array, we are getting this result true. Now if I pass 3 here, we will get the result as false because these 2 names here, Sam, is having the length 3. So this condition is not met for these two elements here. In order to return true from this method all of the elements inside the array must be true for the given condition here. Now you might have got the idea how this method sum works. First of all, let me duplicate this line here. Now let's call this method sum. This method sum will return true if there is at least one element matching the given condition here. Since there are few elements having length more than 3, it is returning the value true. Now even if I pass this condition, we will get the value true because we have two elements matching the given condition. Now if I pass 10 here, it will return false because there is no element at all with the given condition. So the method includes will return true if the given element is present inside the array, else it will return false. Now this every method will only return true if given condition is true for all the elements inside this array. Not all the elements inside the array are circles, so we get the false here. Now in case of the method sum, we just need at least one element matching the given condition. Now if you want to see image illustrations or image nodes like these, I will be uploading image nodes like these from our JavaScript beginners tutorial on our Instagram handle at CodAffection. So please consider following us on Instagram also. So that's how inspection methods works. Now let's talk about the iteration method for each. For that, I will be using a different array colors. As a beginner, if anyone says loops or iteration, we'll be thinking about for loop, right? We can iterate through these arrays using for loop. For example, for loop, and here we have the iteration index I, and we'll be providing the array like this. Inside each iteration, for now, let's print the element. So colors, and here we can pass the iteration variable I. So this is how we have been looping through arrays in previous videos. But for array iteration, we have a separate method for each. So this is how it looks like. You can call the method from the array like this, for each. Inside this for each function, we can provide a callback function. So here we have the callback function with a single parameter item. Now whatever we need to perform inside each iteration, we can specify that inside this callback body here. And this parameter is representing each of the element inside this array here. So if I want to print the elements like we have done with this for loop here, we just need to print the parameter item. That's it. We don't have to worry about the loop iteration variable or the stopping condition or the increment or decrement operation here. Everything is handled inside this for each method here. We just need to specify the operation that we want to perform inside each iteration. Now if you want to access the index in each iteration, you can use the second parameter of this callback. So I will be appending it like this, index. In between them, let's have this colon. Once you become comfortable with this for each method, you won't be using for loop for array iteration. Now let me show you one of the common application of array iteration. Consider this situation. We have given an array of objects. Inside this array, we have objects as the item. Now we want to find an object by a given ID from this array of objects. So back to VS Code, I will paste the same object here. Now in order to find an object with given ID, we can make use of for each loop. So I will do this. For each function can be called, and here we have the callback function with this parameter obj. As I mentioned about, the first parameter inside this callback is representing the elements inside the array. Since the element inside this array is an object, I have used this parameter obj representing an object. Now here we have the ID that we are searching for. So let it be 124. And here we will check if obj.id, if it is equal to the ID that we are searching for, we will just print the same here, obj. See, here we have the output. So this for each loop iterates through the elements inside this array, which is these objects here. Inside the callback, ID of these objects is compared with the ID that we are looking for. If they match each other, we'll just print the same inside the console. After learning rest of the array methods, I will be showing you a simple way of solving this problem. Sorry, I hate to bother you. Since you have watched this far, can I ask you a small favor? Please consider subscribing to this channel CodAffection, and also please like and share this video. It will really motivate me to make more awesome videos like this in future. Here we have the final category of array methods. They returns new array after the operation. Now first of all, we'll be looking at these four methods here: reverse, slice, concat and join. So first of all, let me get rid of these examples here. And here we have the array to demonstrate rest of the array methods. And here we have the output to save the result from the methods. And finally, we'll be printing the output here. Now first of all, let's look at this method reverse. From the name itself, you could tell it reverses the order of the elements inside the array. So we just need to call the function like this, reverse. Nothing fancy, that's it. Okay, so here we have the array in reverse order. Now let's talk about this method slice. Let me comment this reverse operation. So this slice method is used to retrieve a subset of the array that we have here. So we could do this, tens dot slice function is called, and here we have the starting index. So from this index onwards, the subset is selected. So if I pass 0 here, the end array will be returned from this slice method. If I pass 1 here, the element starting from this index 1 will be selected. So the index that we are passing here is the starting point for the subset array. Okay. Now if I pass 2 here, only the first item at the index 1 is selected. Here we are passing the end index, but for this slice method, the end index will be excluded. So this is the first index, second index. So the end index 2 will be excluded. So if I pass 3 here, elements at the index 1 and 2 will be selected. Element at the end index 3 will be excluded. So that's how slice method works. So here we have the reverse operation, and here we have the slice operation. Here we only have a single parameter, which is the start index. So the selected array will be having the element starting from the index 1 all the way up to the end. If you provide both start and end index, the elements in between these two indices will be selected, excluding the element at the end index. Okay. Now let's talk about the concat operation. From the name itself, you could tell it is used to append new array into an existing array. So you can call the function like this, concat, and if you want to append a new array at the end of this array here, you could pass here. See, here we have the resulting array as a result of merging these two arrays in this order. So that's simple. Concat is just used to concat multiple arrays. Now let me show you another method using destructuring syntax. We have already learned the destructuring syntax in one of our previous video. So here we have the tens 2. Inside that, I will save this array here. In order to concat these two arrays, we just need to pass the array here. Now let me show you the second way of doing this. Output is equal to, here we have the empty array, and here we will destructure the existing two arrays, tens, and then we will destructure this second array. So this is also a way to merge two arrays. So the method concat is used to merge two arrays like this. Finally, we have this join method. So let me comment these previous operations here. Now let's discuss this join operation. Let's call the method join. Actually, this join method returns a string, not a new array. We can check the same here with the operator type of. See, it's a string. Now what actually this join method does? It joins elements inside this array with a given separator. By default, comma is the default separator. If you want to combine these or join these elements with a period, you could do this. Take this example here. In this array, we have first name, middle name, and last name. In order to generate the full name, we have joined these array elements with a white space, and we get the output John F. Kennedy. Instead of a white space, if you want to join them with an hyphen, we can call the function like this. Now let's try this exercise here. How to reverse a string in JavaScript using the best practice. Previously, we have discussed a recursive solution for this same problem. Now we are going to discuss a best practice for solving this problem. Actually, for JavaScript string, there is no default method for reverse like we have this reverse method for arrays. So we're going to solve this problem using array methods. So first of all, let me get rid of these here. For that, I will be declaring this arrow function string reverse. We have a single parameter input, and let's call the function here with this string JavaScript. Now from this function, we'll be returning the reverse string. Now in order to see the same inside this developer console, we will do this. We will move this function call into this log statement here. So here it is, return. Now, in order to use the array methods that we have learned so far, we have to convert this string into an array. For that, we can call this string method split. Actually, this method split this string according to the given separator. For example, if I pass a here, it will split this string by the character a. And the result will be returned in an array like this. Instead of this, we just need to split the array with an empty string like this. So each of the characters inside this array becomes an element inside the array here. Now we can call the array methods. Actually, we want to reverse this string. So first of all, on this array, we will be calling reverse array method. So the elements inside this array will be reversed. Now we want to combine or join characters inside this array. For that, we can call this function join. And we want to join them with an empty string. Boom, that's it. The given string is reversed here. Now let me try the palindrome mom or dad. It's working perfectly fine. A, B, C. So this is the best practice in JavaScript to reverse a string. Now we can even simplify this statement with destructuring syntax. Suppose you have got a string like this. Now if you want to make an array out of this string using destructuring syntax, you could do this. We have already discussed this in our destructuring tutorial. Here we go. So instead of this, we just need to do this. An empty array, inside that we will destructure this string. That's it. It's cool, right? And rest of these four methods are very important. They have a lot of applications in real world projects. So I will be discussing these four methods in next video. If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing to this channel CodAffection. It will definitely motivate me to make more awesome videos like this. Please like and share this video with your friends and colleagues. See you in next video.